Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tie Your Shoes Reviews. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, a little film known as Star Wars stormed its way into the hearts and imaginations of millions, and has since then been the de facto icon of science fiction. The original trilogy are some of the most cherished movies for nerd culture, or pop culture in general. So naturally, George Lucas made the natural decision to market the hell out of the phenomenon he created. A whole galaxy of Star Wars merchandise has spawned since the movie's advent, which wasn't limited to video games. The one I'll be focusing on in particular is the 1997 PlayStation fighting game, Masters of Teras Kasi. Apparently, this started as a collaborative project between LucasArts and Capcom, the latter of whom dropped out to make their own 3D fighting game, Star Gladiator. I should get around to doing that game sometime. I remember my parents picking this up from a pawn shop in the late 90s, a little after I discovered Star Wars through the then new special editions. Despite my newfound love for the movies, I couldn't really get down with this game, which is shocking since back then I thought every game ever was amazing. I hadn't played it again until 2017 when The Last Jedi came to theaters, and I figured with my accumulated skill in fighting game, it'd be better than I remembered. But no, the game still blows. So I'm just gonna get it all off my chest and immortalize my feelings on Masters of Teras Kasi before the round-ear overlords that control the Wars of Stars take notice of this video and strike it down faster than you can say Dantooine. But yeah, I'm delaying the inevitable. Let's force ourselves to look at Masters of Teras Kasi. I'm ready. Believe it or not, there is a story going on in this game, and it supposedly takes place between the end of the original film A New Hope and the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back. This game came out 2 years before the prequel stuff was a thing, so thankfully there's not a Jar Jar or a midichlorian in sight. After the Rebel Alliance destroyed the original Death Star, Emperor Palpatine hires a bounty hunter to personalize dispose of the leaders of the rebellion. Enter Arden Lin, a practitioner of the lost art of Teras Kasi. I mentioned that name several times already, and you're probably wondering, what the hell does that even mean? Well, according to Wikipedia, Teras Kasi is an unarmed fighting style created by the followers of Padoa to fight against the Jedi. Also, fun fact, Teras Kasi is also known as Steel Fist. Kinda sounds like Iron Fist, doesn't it? Anywhoosie, Lin is dispatched along with Darth Vader to take out those pesky rebels once and for all. Fortunately, the good guys catch wind of this plot and prepare for battle against the Empire's forces. All the base characters of the roster have their own ending after clearing their respective arcade runs, but these leave a lot to be desired. Most of the endings are less than 5 seconds long and don't justify playing through everyone's campaign, let alone playing the game for more than 2 minutes. They add nothing to the characters or the overarching story, and in that regard are probably the worst endings I've seen in a fighting game so far. At least Tekken's endings are humorous despite their short length. And now we come to the gameplay, the deciding factor of whether a fighter hits its mark or graduated from Stormtrooper Academy. Let's start with the roster. The base characters are the ones you'd expect from a Star Wars game. You got Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia and her bounty hunter guard from Return of the Jedi, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Boba Fett. There's also Arden Lin with her weird metal fist, the Gamorrean guard slash pigman Thok, and Tusken Raider named... Wait, what's his name? Howar? Listen man, you shouldn't laugh at this guy's name. I hear he's making a killing on OnlyFans. The game is a one-on-one 3D fighter where you either whittle down the opponent's health or have more life when the time runs out. All the stages are on a circular arena, and if you get knocked out of bounds or fall off like a dumbass, you automatically lose the round via ring out. Your attacks consist of 2 punch and kick buttons apiece with light and heavy strengths respectively. Most of the cast can draw or holster their weapons by pressing R2, except for Thok because apparently his axe is a part of him like his pig snout. All your normal and special moves change after you sheath your weapon, kinda like stance characters in other fighting games like Lei from Tekken or Gen from Street Fighter Alpha. That's kinda cool, until you realize none of that really matters because every attack seems to come out a million years after you hit the button. The overall control feels way too clunky and overly long animations don't justify the low damage they deal. What about special moves? Depending on the character and whether they have their weapon ready, they have access to unique moves. However, there is no in-game command list, so to figure out what your dude does, you must either confer to the manual, read an internet guide, or mash until something different happens. Granted, you'll be mashing buttons regardless, since your normals are abysmally slow, but that's neither here or there. There's also a super meter that can boost the power of your special moves by expending 1 bar, and super moves that require all 4 bars, but I have absolutely no idea how to perform EX specials at all. There's nothing in the manual that tells you how to do it, and the game sure as hell isn't going to do that. Common sense would suggest that you would do the special move input with 2 buttons, but specials are specifically tied to a singular button, so that doesn't work. In the end, I'll try and vein to win by mixing special moves and mash normals as a last resort, but the computer still hands me my ass with little effort. It's almost insulting how much an advantage the AI has because they aren't encumbered by wrestling with the janky controls. There is a point where you may adapt to the crap factor and figure out reliable combo strings, but the battle system just isn't fun. I wouldn't blame you if you play through arcade mode once, beat the final boss, and call it a day. Speaking of which, Darth Vader is the final boss because of course he is. Aside from being a typical cheap fighting game final boss, all the underlying problems I mentioned here are your worst enemy. Is there anything nice I can say about this game? Well, the graphics are okay, I guess. All the characters resemble their movie counterparts, and the stages resemble key locales like the Rebel Base in Hoth or the Empire Control Station in Endor. The music is probably the best part about this game. That's only because it's the John Williams score from the movies, which I am not using as this video's background music because, again, I don't want the Mandalorians to hunt me down. Boo! There's also some extra content here and there, such as secret characters, extra modes like survival and practice, and dumb cheat codes to lighten the mood, but I really don't care about all that at this point. This is a bad fighting game that isn't worth your time, Star Wars fan or not. The thing that gets me is that there are elements here that could have made Masters of Teras Kasi a good fighting game, but the battle system feels so unfinished, I could assume this was a rush job. Star Wars has the potential for amazing fighting games, but apparently, they just wanted to make a quick buck, and we got this instead. Since this game reviewed pretty poorly since its release, we never really saw another fighter from the series again. Maybe someday, someone will do it justice, and I'll look forward to the prospect. But for now, I can finally put this game behind me, and hopefully never talk about it again. That's going to be it for Masters of Teras Kasi. I apologize for the uncharacteristic negativity this time. I try to be as optimistic as possible for these, but that's just how I feel about this game. If you enjoy Masters of Teras Kasi, more power to you. You probably see something I don't. Let me know in the comments if you do like this game or recommend some other games for me to review. As always, thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.
You win.